Okay, it's another Sunday. Very good evening to everybody. Welcome to EarthSave's Veganville TV Sunday get-together. If you're joining us during your dinner time, or like me, you're going to have dinner afterwards. You don't work while you eat. So I'm your host, Stu. We have Vegan Man, Jeff, with us, and Chef Estella, who's going to be joining us momentarily, who is here. And we'll get started. We like to ask if they care to say a quick hello to the newbies. If you'd like to say hello, Margaret, and if you want to share with us what motivated you to join us today, and we're glad to have you. And
hi, I live in Delray Beach. I've been, in my lifetime, I've been a vegetarian, a vegan, and didn't always stick with it. But I have, for the last year and a half, been a vegan, and I guess, it's really helping me to, so I'm staying home with this virus, and I have time on my hands to actually cook. So what inspired me to do this really is the suffering that I know animals go through in factory farming, and also, environmentally, I'm aware of the positive effects eating in a vegan manner can help our environment.
well, we're
Good
glad.
Good for you. That's wonderful. Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for spending your Sunday evening with us, or at least part of it. Jane, I know is new here, and maybe she's shy, and that's okay. If you care to say hello, if not, you can just hang with us tonight, and feel free to participate if you want during the evening. I think either she's shy or she has a bad connection. Okay, as we move along, nice to see everybody else. Susan, Rachel, Kathy's back, and Margaret we spoke with. So Chef Estella, is she around the corner or what, Jeff?
I don't know. She's in, you know what? She's.
Anyway, I'm going to ask Rachel because she was, Rachel was very interested in.
I'm here. Hi,
Hi.
everybody. Yes.
Hi, Estella.
Hi, Rachel. Yes.
Okay, Chef Estella's with us. Yeah, we were asking because you had a very nice item that you whipped together, and some people were interested in the recipe. Do you want to tell us what?
I did find the recipe, one of the recipes that I use as a base, and it's from One Green Planet. So I'm going to put it on the chat that I used for the crab cakes. And I just started using jackfruit, and at Trader Joe's, it's only $1.99. So even if I didn't like it, it's all good, because it's $1.99. So I have nothing to lose by it. So I've made vegan pulled pork from it, and now I made these crab cakes from it.
Great.
Yeah.
So is that in a can? The one
Yes,
that you buy?
it is in a can, because
In a
I
can.
don't want to deal with that whole big jackfruit.
Yes.
It looks a little too big for me and a little too cumbersome. I don't feel like dealing with that. Just like the horseradish, some things are worth it for the convenience. And so that's why I chose to use the canned.
That's great that they have the can. Yes, I just, one time only I was able to get the can and then trying to take it apart. It took a long time in order to do the the meat alternative
Yes.
that I wanted.
Yeah.
Yes, but sure, sure, it's good to know that we can get the can in there, you know? Yes.
Well, you need a machete to open it too, don't you? Chef
It,
Estelle, I understand it's hard to open.
it's hard to open. It is very cumbersome. It's extremely. And for $1.99, I get this little can, and it's already dealt with. The only thing that I implore you to do is check if you're getting canned jackfruit, because it is in a brine, and if it is in a syrup, it could be too sweet. So if it's in a brine, then just make sure and rinse it really, really well, because you want to take out that brine kind of consistency.
Sure, yes.
I'd just like to add something. You made a very interesting comment, and I think we all have a camaraderie here to share different tips and options, what works for us, what works for others. You mentioned about the jackfruit of not cutting the whole fruit, and that's a great comment that you made, because we all don't want to be bothered sometimes with the mess, and some people don't even like to cut up a pineapple. They like to buy it already cored for them. And that's, I'm not judging anybody's decision on what they want. I have a friend, in fact, we were talking about the NutriBullet, because that's one of my appliances that I have. And I love making smoothies and that. And I also have another one. But, I was talking to him and, inspiring him about fruits and vegetables. And I'm going to quote what he said. He's returning it to the store. He got it off of Home Shopping Network. And he would rather get, for him, these organic extracts in supplement form. I can't argue with people. He wants, instead, he don't want to be bothered with, the fruit and it's picked at the best. So by getting supplements, he feels that he's, not having to fuss with the smoothies and blending fresh fruits and vegetables. He's taking it in supplement form. So, a lot of people, when we talk about recipes, some people don't want to be bothered. Let's face it, right? We can inspire you and it sounds great. And a lot of people watch these cooking shows on TV, about all kinds of cooking, vegan, non-vegan, and they admire the entertainment they're getting, but they're not really, some people may not even, aspire to follow the recipe. So maybe tonight when you share this recipe, some of us might do that. Go to Trader Joe's like, myself and get the canned, like Kathy said, not have to fuss with cutting it up with a machete or whatever.
Right. And it can be very simple. Vegan does not have to be complicated. Basically for me, I cut up broccoli for the week. Okay. And I cut it up and I also keep the stems, and I actually process the stems because the stems have a lot of nutrients in it. And then I just put it into my salads, just boom, it's in there, everybody, I don't think anybody should judge anybody's journey into this. I like to have fresh vegetables. I like the consistency of it. And because when it's frozen, and they do say frozen is good, but I really prefer fresh. And so I limit what I buy in fresh to make sure that I use it by the end of the week. I found out ways to preserve it as long as possible too.
Definitely. I agree. Anybody want to?
I must say that I 100% agree with the fact that, whatever works for somebody is the best way for them to do it. They always say, what is the best vegetable for you to eat? The one that you're going to eat, right? So if you're not going to eat it, even if you buy it, it doesn't make sense. I know it's intimidating with a jackfruit, but you do not need a machete, actually. You just need a knife. You need a nice big knife, and just cut it. It's the green jackfruit that they use for that, not the ripe one. That's the fruit one that normally you eat the pulp. But the green one, you basically just peel it. You peel off the green bumpy skin, and then you cut up all the other parts in there and use them. So you don't need a machete, just in case somebody wanted to buy a fresh one. I don't want them to feel intimidated that they need a machete.
Okay, thank you, Cheryl. That's good tip. Some people, some people just don't know how to even cut up a pineapple. I mean, it could be intimidating because people just don't do it. They may get it served in a fruit platter at someone's house, or they may buy it cut up, but they've never in their life cut open a pineapple. And it's kind of funny when you think about it. So yeah, people are intimidated sometimes, I would say.
Yeah, but I have found YouTube is wonderful. Anything you wanted to know, you can find out how to cut up a pineapple all different ways, and then you could find out the one that works for you. I actually bought one of those pineapple tools that it's supposed to be like
Yes.
I don't know what a corer, basically.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be really cool so that you could put in a drink afterwards, that it makes a beautiful shell and everything else. It looks so pretty in the picture, but when actually doing it, the tool never worked and it was labor intensive anyway. And it really wasn't worthwhile. You couldn't put a drink in there. So
if you go to the Mai Kai in Fort Lauderdale and you see the tiki dancers and they charge you $15 for a drink with a big pineapple, it's worth it then.
yes.
Because the labor that's involved in, all that. Anybody been to the Mai Kai in Fort Lauderdale?
Yes,
Yes,
I
yes,
have.
years ago.
Not
I
in
did
years.
years ago, but I think I read something maybe a couple weeks ago that it's actually closing.
I wouldn't be surprised to hear that, but I'd be
Yeah.
sorry to hear. I had some good family memories there over the years. Yeah.
It's closing because the roof caved in.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
really? Wow.
Oh, okay.
I think my family went to Mai Kai 45 years ago. It's a very old establishment, kind of like Tropical Acres restaurant. That's been
Yes.
around for years too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true. Well, a lot of landmarks are going the way of
Going under.
history,
Yeah.
That's right.
from everything. Anyway, why don't we segue over to Chef Estella? She's going to share a nice recipe with us for tonight. Are you ready, Chef Estella?
Sure, yes.
Okay, I'm going to share your screen. And why don't you tell us what you're going to be doing?
Yes. Tonight, I want to talk about the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies. This recipe is from there. I am a graduate from the center. It takes 6 weeks. It is a graduate course that you take, and you have to apply for it. It was worthwhile. It was a lot of work, but based on the work that I have been doing with EarthSave, I apply, and I got the grant. So I took the course. It was very, very interesting and useful. So I encourage, if you have a nurse or a doctor that you may encourage them to take it. It's open to all the people who work in the medical field also too, and to educators also, or anybody who like to take this course is at the graduate level. So it was very demanding, a lot of work, not a lot of time, and you learn a lot. So I'm proud to say that I am a graduate for the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies, and anybody can apply. And so this is the nutritionstudy.org. They have articles, and they also have recipes. So today, the graduates just turn in all these recipes. They follow a format that the center wants, and anybody who has a good recipe can send that and follow the template that they have. So as it is very cold right now, and we want to have something that is warm, And so everybody talk about the shepherd pie, the shepherd pie. All right, so I said, I'm going to go and see one of the recipes. So this is, it may be probably prepared in different ways. Let's see how she prepared, and then you can also give your opinion if you prepare like this or in any other way. So the vegetable, yes, so it's gluten-free and all that. So water, prep time 15 minutes, cook time 20 minutes, and for more or less is for 6. So what do you need for the mashed potato? According to this recipe, is 2 pounds of potato cubes, a quarter cup of any plant-based milk, if you like sea salt or no salt, and pepper to taste. This is for the mashed potato. The filling. In this case, this filling has onion, 1 onion dice, 3 celery stalks dice, 1 carrot dice, 2 cups crushed tomatoes, 6 cups cooked lentil, 1 cup frozen peas, and 1 or 2 teaspoons of curry powder or any other, or no salt seasoning, or any other that's good for you. Sea salt if you want to. So how are you going to prepare? It has 2 parts. You heat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Apart, in a medium soap pan, you add the cubed potatoes and enough water to cover the potatoes, and you just boil. You just boil the potatoes, you drain and set aside. You add the plant-based milk, the sea salt and pepper to the potato and mash. Meanwhile, in a skillet, you just saute the onions, celery, and carrot. If you pay attention, there is no oil here to saute. It's just with the pot very hot and have some water, or you can have any other liquid vegetable stock if you want to, and stir to combine for 1 minute. Then you add the other part, the crushed tomatoes, the lentils, peas, and cook for 5 minutes. Then you take a baking dish and spread half of the mashed potatoes and flatten to cover the bottom of the pan. Then you add in the middle, you have all the seasoned vegetables and lentil mixture, and then top with the remaining on top. It needs to have the mashed potato again, and you can decorate in the way you want. And you just bake approximately for 20 minutes. Everything is already cooked. I saw other recipes that they don't have lentils, but this girl added the lentils. So I just want to ask you, have you made this shepherd pie or a mashed potato loaf? It looked like it's like a loaf. Yes.
Yes.
Does anybody want to
Rachel.
just give their opinion, or if they made something similar?
Yes, I made this. This is Rachel. I have made this similar to this. I use lentils and mushrooms and curry. I had leftover pumpkin, so leftover mashed pumpkin. So I put the pumpkin and mashed potatoes together on the top and put like pumpkin pie spice and curry on the top of it. And it came out really good, very hearty, very filling. And I used a lot of the same ingredients as what you mentioned, but I just added the mashed pumpkin with the mashed potato.
Yeah, I was thinking about instead of using the mashed potato, it can be sweet, and then you're giving me You just use the can already, the puree that come in a can.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but you have to be very careful on the can because it has to be pumpkin, pure 100% pumpkin. It can't be pumpkin pie filling because that is sweet and that is not what you want. And at Walmart, it's only 78 cents for that can instead of
Sure, yes,
cutting
yes,
up.
yes. Instead you have to read that it's not for the pie, but only the
100%
puree.
pumpkin.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
like convenience in my vegan cooking. So sometimes I have shortcuts on the canned items, but I rinse it very well when I can.
so with that, yeah, of course, because sometimes to make that mash pumpkin, you see, so it's sometimes may not be very easy to make. No, the texture. You have to see the texture,
Mhm.
so you can spread it on top. Did you
Right.
put another layer in the bottom, as this lady was suggesting to put a layer on the bottom?
I did not put a layer on the bottom. I just put a layer on the top. I left all the mashed potatoes and the pumpkin on top, not on the bottom.
Mhm. Sure, yeah, this is another, yes, ideas. Thinking that probably if I make it, okay, I will do that instead of the potato to use some sweet potato. Yes, this is a good idea to use the can. You know that the puree, we have a lot of this can for Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving, is somehow difficult to find any of these pumpkin puree cans. But
Oh
yeah,
no, Walmart has it all the time.
oh yeah.
Walmart has it in the baking section where they have the pumpkin pie filling is also the and the generic one is only 78 cents.
Mhm.
So they have it all the time. But yeah, and it's very hearty. It's a shepherd's pie. I love it.
Yes, you just use vegetables, lentil, the same that they use this lady. Do you use lentil?
Yes, I use lentils, but I use brown lentils. It wasn't indicated what type of lentils she used.
Yes, sure. Yeah, but the best way, the brown lentils just look like meat for the color. So this is, and then you just added some mushroom also, you said that too.
Yes, mushrooms
Mhm.
with the peas and everything, all mixed together.
Exactly, yes, for this time and when it's cold and you want really something warm. Okay, I think that this is a great option. So that's why I wanted to share this with you and also to tell you about the Center for Nutrition Studies, all right? And in certain way, they are offering these courses, especially for people who work in the medical field or anybody. Maybe Rachel, would you like to consider to take the um, the six weeks course that the Center for Nutrition Study offer? Would you consider?
Well, right now, like money's a little tight for me, so I am looking. I don't know how much they charge for it, the class.
Yes, yeah, it is online and through eCornell.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, it is that. But yes, you can apply also for a scholarship. Sometimes they offer a scholarship.
Stella, if you could email me my the information, I greatly appreciate it.
Sure, it's what you see in here, T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Study. When you go to nutritionstudy.org, okay, maybe I will look for exactly the course. They have different links, for
Right.
the course, so to apply and all that. Yes, you have the opportunity to listen to all the plant-based doctors and they give you a lot of information, for you to know this is not only about recipe, but also to know about the science behind the recipe, how we are eating this way. And it also it tells about all the chronic disease that people have, and just by adopting a plant-based diet, and then becomes a lifestyle, they can um, get better in their chronic disease. So it's very interesting, and sometimes it's good to tell the doctor, hey doctor, you are my doctor and I appreciate you. Here there is something that this is really for doctors, or nurses, anybody in the medical field. They give them credits, they give them credits. So
Chef,
yes.
Chef Estelle, foodrevolution.org with John Robbins. They offer a course too. It's called Plant Powered and Thriving. I'm looking on the website. It's like 400 and something. But I think if you take John Robbins' masterclass, they reduce that. That might be something people would like to look into.
Sure. Thank you. Yes, sure. There is another possibility, so another option to take the class about of Ocean Robbins, the food revolution. Yes, sure. So there is not the only one, but is the one that I know, and I'm a graduate, and also you can go and get other recipes from there too. Now there are recipes all over, that's so. But sometimes people don't know, so it's a good way to let people know. The link is there. It may not be for you. Who knows? Maybe for a neighbor, somebody that you talk with, And sure. Any other comment about the shepherd pie, or anybody else prepare it in a? It is, basically, and from the Irish, an Irish tradition. Use all that mashed potato. In Argentina, for example, they have one like a loaf, exactly the same. It's exactly like shepherd pie. It doesn't have the one in the bottom, So they put raisin also in the filling, and then they cover, all the top with the thick layers of potatoes, of mashed potatoes. So I never liked potatoes very much, I prefer the sweet potatoes.
Well,
But
sweet potatoes have more nutrients in it than a baked potato. It's better for you, actually, the sweet potato. And I personally think it tastes better. It has more of a, more oomph.
yes, sure, yes. Also, there is a digestion problem for me. It's difficult for me to digest the potato. So whether
Kathy.
the sweet potato
Join
is
the meeting.
much easier, for me. Yes. All right. So
Thank
this
you,
is
Chef Estella, for that.
Thank you.
okay. I don't know who's next now.
Okay, Kathy is going to give us the latest news.
All right. Hi, everybody. Last month, Jeff was talking about EMFs, electromagnetic fields, and I'm not sure if everybody really understands them. There's a lot of conflicting information on the internet, but I'll give you what I came up with, okay? Number one, all things electric create EMFs. According to the WHO, electric fields are created by differences in voltage. The higher the voltage, the stronger the resultant field. That's electric fields. Magnetic fields are created when electric current flows. The greater the current, the stronger the magnetic field. An electric field will exist even when there is no current flowing. If current does flow, the strength of magnetic field will vary with power consumption, but the electric field strength will stay constant. It decreases as when you move farther away from it. But in other words, even if you have something plugged in, but like a strip cord, but you shut off the cord, there's still electricity in there and it's flowing. It's just waiting to be unblocked so it can go into the strip cord. Okay. Now, according to cancer.gov, power lines produce magnetic fields which continuously have a current because it's always flowing through them. Electric fields are easily shielded or weakened by walls and other objects, whereas magnetic fields can pass through buildings, living things, and other material. So now this is their example of low-level EMFs. Microwave ovens, computers, house energy meters, wireless routers, cell phones, Bluetooth devices, power lines, MRIs. Examples of high levels are ultraviolet light and X-rays. Now that's going to be disputed in, further down the line here. On the website Well and Good, think about all the EMFs that we're surrounded by every single day. We sit in computers, we spend evenings with our phones and tablets, and as G5 mobile networks roll out around the world with higher frequency radio waves and a greater concentration of cell towers, a number of scientists are saying that our growing EMF exposure could have an adverse impact on health. At the same time, organizations like the National Institutes of Health and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention generally agree that although more research needs to be done, the majority of EMFs we're exposed to don't pose a conclusive health risk. So what do you believe? In January 2019, a group of over 250 scientists from around the world submitted a revised petition to the WHO, World Health Organization, asking for greater protections against non-ionizing low-level EMFs in the environment. Based upon peer-reviewed published research, we have serious concerns regarding the ubiquitous and increasing exposure to EMF generated by electric and wireless devices. Numerous recent scientific publications have shown that EMF affects living organisms at levels way below the international national guidelines. Effects include increased cancer risk, cellular stress, increase in harmful free radicals, genetic damages, structural and functional changes of the reproductive system, learning and memory deficits, neurological disorders, and negative impacts on general well-being in humans. Now, there's also radio frequency radiation, which are high-frequency electromagnetic radiation. Now, according to this website, it says RF sources are cell towers and antenna, portable phones, cell phones, wireless computer networks, radar equipment, and of course the in-house wireless network. According to World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer, EMFs are possibly carcinogenic to humans. Now, the problem of health effects of RF EMF has not been definitively resolved, but due to the results of previous research on possible health effects, it seems necessary to use precautionary principles when the new sources of electromagnetic emissions will be planned and installed. We have to be careful who prints things, who are their sources, who are their sponsors. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I've done enough reading and listening, and I believe that they are harmful. That's why I went through our RV store and got one of our pendants, and I have a cell phone EMF blocker. You would have to do more researching if you choose to understand, more about EMFs, but we are bombarded 24/7 with EMFs. Anything that's plugged in still has electricity going through it, okay? A very interesting story I read, which was published at least 30 years ago in Prevention Magazine, mentioned a man who leaned holistically, and he was thinking about this, and he thought, you know, I don't think it's smart to have electrical current running through my house all night long when we're supposed to be regenerating and rejuvenating. And he literally shut off all his circuit breakers at night. That was 30 years ago. Okay. If you are interested in protection from these, I highly suggest going to our V store. I have looked over numerous EMF protectors. We have some of the best there are and some of the best prices you will find. But as I said, that's up to you with what little research I could present today. You know, if you need more, go ahead. And at least there are some good protection to you. And I think I'm really running long, so I better shorten it. And thank you so much. I hope you learned something, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All righty.
I knew a lot about that. And I got a pendant from the V store also.
Thank you for sharing.
Another option is for all of us to move out to the country and live on a farm.
Yeah.
You know, because every day we're, you know, cordless phones, cellular phones. I mean, I don't know if anybody still has, you know, the old-fashioned phones anymore. That's the way it is, you know.
Well, Stu, women and men have to be very careful. You know, some women put their cell phones in their bras. That wouldn't work for me. Mine would fall right out. And then men put them in their pockets,
Yes.
especially the front pocket. Those are not good areas, and I'll leave that up to your imagination, to put your cell phone. You ought to put it in your purse or shut it off or something for men until you need to use it. As a matter of fact, I read someone was in charge, head of the oncology department at a medical school, and he actually sent a memo to all of his students and staff and said, do not leave your cell phone on when not in use. Shut it off. So, you know.
Thank you for that tip.
Sure.
Jeff is showing us a sample of, you want to describe what that is, Jeff?
This is called a trimeter. It's hard.
Right there, hold it right there, perfect.
Okay. And this one is quite economical. It's only about 150, 160 bucks. Some of the others go up to 1,000 and more. This one is really quite popular among people who know. What I've been doing lately is taking the other one that I have, my backup, and I send it to people. And I tell them, you know, I will coach you on it, or you can go online. There are plenty of, you know, YouTube videos and whatever. But you learn to use it very quickly, and then you take it around your house and you take readings in all the areas that you spend your time. You know, if there's a corner of your house that has a very high, dirty electric field, Wi-Fi radio frequency field, a really nasty ionizing magnetic field or whatever, and it's way in a corner or up in the crawl space, that's not your concern. Your concern first is, where do you sit for hours a day? Where do you lie down, or where do you stand, for example, at your kitchen sink, at your computer, on your bed, okay? Like places that are really your living space, right? So I learned from a naturopathic doctor, Craig Summers. Some of you may remember him. He started out as like one of the youngest EarthSave kids that we had. He was like early 20s, and then he picked up his ND, naturopathic doctor. And anyway, the big circle closed 15, 20 years later, and he teaches me how to use this machine. Let me give you a quick idea. I went through the house about 2 years ago, and what you do is you take the machine, let's say near a bed, especially on the pillow end, and you check near the floor, you check at like midway up the wall, in the air, not against the wall, but where you sit or where you lay, where your pillow is. And then you check high up to see if there is any strong concentration of these fields. And 2 years ago, I found the dangerous spots. And so we went ahead and we moved a piece of furniture here or there. We moved our Wi-Fi router, stuff like that. Then a year or two goes by and we're living with all that. And hello, welcome, Yana. So the big revelation came when I said, you know what? We've plugged in new things. Estella's desk got a makeover. She got new equipment. I took the meter and I checked all around her sitting desk area. And I was stunned. And I said, you know, leave the room, my dear. I'm going to be doing some things that'll probably annoy you, like unplugging stuff and moving things around. And I said, but trust me, it's for a really good cause. So for example, our Wi-Fi router, you know, those little portals, those little boxes that most of us have, that was sitting about 4 feet from her foot, about, 48 inches away. And it was putting out a very high signal, which means that at least her feet and legs were getting dosed with that level, a level that was, let's say, in the middle of the range, a scary level. This is not going to kill you. It's not like walking into Turkey Point and getting dosed with, megawatts or megahertz or whatever. But continued exposure does damage. So I pulled out our house router, and I checked a few places, and I said, okay, look, we have a big wooden filed cabinet 3 feet away from her desk. And I put this router on the floor, in a nice safe little spot, and plugged it in over there. And then I took a reading, underneath her desk. It was like almost zero. So these waves, these radiation, these frequencies, they are blocked by many, many ordinary things. They are also blocked by air. So for example, I learned years ago never to do this. I would never sit on a conversation with the phone against my head, because when it's contacting your skin and your bones, you have a certain conductivity, and all the radiation from the phone is unimpeded. It's going right into your biology, okay? We're biologicals. So if you take the meter and you put it on the phone, touching, it's way up. You move it a half an inch away, and you have this little cushion of air, ½ inch thick, the rating drops dramatically. You move it 4 inches away from the phone, and it's getting to be a really safe level. So there's a lot to learn, but there's a few simple concepts here. So if you have someone with a meter and they check your vital spaces, I'll give you another example. After I checked the bedroom, I moved her bed 2 feet and I turned it around facing, she didn't want to face west. You know, I said, I'm sorry, you're going to be facing west for safety reasons, okay? Things like that. The pillow, is obviously more important than the foot of your bed. So, if you have a discrepancy, you want to protect your pillow first. Your feet can handle much more radiation than your head can, okay? That's part of the story. And as I'll just reiterate what Kathy said, when we have somebody's attention, Estelle and I are more than happy to just spill our guts about all this radiation, because it is affecting so many people so seriously, and they just don't even know it. The parent wakes up one morning and the doctor says, I'm so sorry, your 7-year-old has a brain tumor. Your 9-year-old has a brain tumor. Your preteen has suddenly developed a serious brain tumor, usually right around here or here. And a lot of these kids, they go through hell with surgeries and all that. Kathy, I'm so glad you finally broke down, and got your little tachyon disc. Kathy heard me say more than once that the reason we put these things on the V-Store is really simple. I, who end up finding a lot of these products, I got a new phone about 6 months ago, and every time I held the phone, not even not even going like this, but I'd be holding the phone, I'd be looking at it, I'd be watching the web, and my hand would be burning. This was not abstract science to me. My hand is burning. And I said, I'm going to test this tachyon stuff. And I put one on my phone and the burning stopped. I felt a little tingle. So I put 2 of them on my phone, and now I can sit there and, surf the web or use the phone for an hour and a half, no problem. It's that simple.
Jeff, can I ask a question? Did you have the trimeter? Have you tried out like loading a web page without the disk and looking at the trimeter and loading a web page with the disk or that kind of thing? Does it make a difference on the trimeter? I'm just
That's
curious.
a brilliant question, and I dealt with that question years ago. I mean, that came up early on in my research, and the tachyon system does not actually overwhelm the waves. What they do is they interfere with the waves by a biological impact. In other words, if I went outside and I was standing next to a smart meter, like in our house, we don't have a smart meter, but I go to my neighbor and, we spent $100-odd to take the smart meter out. But let's say I was standing next to a high frequency electrical box, and it's a really powerful, damaging electric field. I can't take a little tachyon device and put it on this huge box and stop the radiation. It's 50,000 times stronger than that. But when I put the tachyon meter on my in my hand, when I put the tachyon disc in my hand, it stops, it protects my hand. If you put the tachyon pendants on, I've got one, Estella's got one, we wear it around your neck. That pretty much blocks the radiation from your body. And that's all that matters, you know? It's still coming into the phone, into the light bulb that's near you. You'd be amazed at how much radiation is in portable phones, not cell phones, portable phones, radios, television screens. It really makes sense to be a little proactive.
So does it just redirect it or somehow
No,
recreate
it
it?
actually, it like blows up the waves that are coming to the body. It sort of like is a barrier between the living cells and the waves. It can't actually go out into space and stop the waves. They are way too powerful, but all you really care about is, it like breaks them up as they're coming into your body or touching your body. So the radiation is rendered harmless. And 3 inches away from your skin, the radiation level is still high, you know, but you don't care.
Oh, does the pendants work similar in a similar fashion?
Yeah, I mean, the whole tachyon thing is that it actually creates like a biological shield. That's what it does. And I mean, there are millions of people using this around the world now, so it's not even our own experience that matters. They're selling them by the droves, you know. There are a couple of other companies that have similar products, but
Yeah.
I trust Dr. Cousins, Gabriel Cousins, Tree of Life, one of the top raw vegan organic doctors in the United States, and he is a big proponent of this tachyon, and so am I, because I mean it works. I mean, it made my phone usable. When the 5G came out, about, you know, it started really showing up in our neighborhood about 4 months ago. I said, Estella, you'll be the guinea pig, right? I want to get you the pendant, and just tell me the truth, you know. And she put the pendant on, and in a couple of days, she said, I'm not bothered by the 5G now. What else can I tell you, you know?
Wow.
I have heard of people who are EMF sensitive. I'm not sure what their symptoms are, but if I may relate a story, a few years ago, I picked up my roommate Barb at a like a horse ranch. She was doing lessons, and it was below huge power lines. And there was a truck shut off. Nobody was in it. And I don't know, for some reason, I put my hand on the hood of the truck. I could feel vibration. Now, I can't say definitively if that was from the overhead power lines, but I don't know what else it could be. So I stepped back. I said, holy mackerel, what is this? I mean, those power lines were maybe 25 feet, 5 feet above the rink. And it was like, oh my God. And these horses are being bombarded. Kids are being bombarded. It's a shame.
I have a dry field meter, and I went in North Miami where they have those power lines over 135th Street, 125th, and just driving underneath them, and they're like 30 feet above me too. This is what reminds the needle goes way in the red. So you're just driving in a car underneath those power lines, and it could be affecting you. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, it was really high there. And I'd like to put one of them things on my head or something.
The pendant is the best idea because it's hanging around your heart. It's not
Uh-huh.
far from all your key organs, and
Yeah.
the protection really covers your biological zone.
I got the pendant too, so I hope.
Only
works.
one pendant on the Z store.
Linda, it's amazing, and I think they're crazy over there at Tachyon, but they have about, I would say 40, 50 pendant designs, like sacred geometry, precious looking stones, crystals, different shapes. They're like, for an artist, you would probably go crazy. Which one am I gonna pick?
Right, so this one is simple. Let's see what it looks like. You have it on now?
Celine, do you have yours on?
Oh yeah, let's see.
You don't have yours on, Steph? What's going on?
No, I don't have to wear it in the house. I have all my danger zones have already been neutralized, I've got all my appliances and everything kind of in shielded spots. And so, I don't really need it in the house.
Well, that's good.
But I tell you, you put it on the back of your phone. I have a double on my phone because I'm using the old ones. So I made a sandwich out of two old ones. But Estella, she got the new 5G disc, and one of those discs is all you need for like the worst 5G phone levels. And our friends, I don't mean you're not our friends, but any of our friends or family who are getting one, I say, get the new 5G disc. It's like $40. And it's really designed when your phone goes 5G. You really want the new, stronger Tachyon disc.
Are our phones gonna go 5G automatically?
Some of the phones are not
Are they
set
going
up.
5G automatically?
Linda, some of the older phones are not capable of handling 5G signals. So
Right. that's what
5G
I'm
is
saying.
all around you, coming
I
into
know,
your
so
house and everything, but the phone's not going to be faster.
So there's a picture of it if anybody can see it.
Let's,
Do you see it?
Stella has it?
Oh, you see, Celine is showing her like cylinder pendant.
Yeah, it's one of the Tachyon pendants. Tachyon
Can't
technology.
see it.
It's just it's like a steel cylinder, Linda.
Uh-huh.
I picked the most bland design there was, so.
I see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Now, Jeff, do we have to wear it at night, or can I take it off and put it right on my nightstand, which is, like a foot away?
I think on your nightstand, it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
I put, I think that's going to be fine.
Okay.
They tell you
Sorry.
they take it off at night anyway. So, anyway,
All right, here's Estella's. It's the same basically as Celine's. Just and it's on they offer different chains. I mean, in other words, they went crazy making like 50 or 100 decorative designs. In my opinion, I would have made 5, but obviously, women, it's a beautiful piece of jewelry.
Jeff, I only saw about 4 or 5 or 6 designs on the V store.
Oh, no. Well, if
I
you,
didn't see all of them, but maybe there are more. I just didn't, seems like I only saw 4 or 5, but I mean, I'm happy with the one I got. I just,
well, okay. So, when you're on the V store and you click on one of them,
mhm,
it takes you to the Tachyon ordering place, you know?
mhm,
They make
yeah,
them and they have, and if you want to search around, you click the link from the V store, and
mhm,
that means you're going to the Tachyon website and you're coming from us. And
oh, okay. And they give you the credit for the, whatever you buy then. Okay.
exactly. And then you're a customer from the V store.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
Well,
from a jewelry point of view, whoa,
The V store
stunning,
gets the credit.
huh?
The V store gets the credit if you go to their website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Okay,
first go to
great.
the V store, right.
Hey,
Yeah,
wake
yeah.
up call. That's what I say for
I mean,
me.
if it wasn't such a health hazard, I wouldn't be like really, constantly harping on it, because a lot of other items on the V store are great products, like the chocolate box or something. I'm not going to spend my time trying to get people interested in something just because it's a tasty chocolate treat. But I mean, I care that people who we know, people who we care about, and technically those that are, um, uh, relying on us. So I put the link, for example, in the chat box, because this is a health hazard and this is the solution, So that's why I'm so agitated about it.
Sorry, can I just ask a question? It's just been so hard to even insert a word. I don't know if it's been discussed already, but I think the important thing is that what are those pendants made out of? Do you know the material? What is it that they're using?
He said there's a crystal inside of this, and I think the outer layer is like steel or something, but there's a crystal inside.
What kind of crystal?
Actually, I don't know. I don't think they
But
said.
I think that's very important to
Yeah.
have that information, because
Well, but it's also, yeah, it's more of a, it's also a technology, so it's not just the crystal, it's how they make it, how they cut it, whatever they do to make it do what it does. So,
Yana brings up a point, and so why don't we do this? I went online, the link that I gave you from the V store, I opened it up. I could share my screen and we could look at this stuff. How about that?
all right.
Stu, I'm gonna do.
Sounds good.
Share. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is like a mass research project tonight for all of us.
Mhm.
Let's go with this one. And we're sharing. Can you see a woman with some flowers?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now let's see, cell phone protection, no. I want to go to, let's say, 5G and EMF protection. Pendant. And let's look at this store. And the Tachyon pendants. They started making these when there was 3G and 4G, and they've been testing this stuff in universities for years. And so this is one of the companies that has all kinds of technical papers behind this. Let's look at a couple of these. This is one of the more expensive. Obviously, they call it, Yana, they call it a tachionized vertical crystal, a vertical crystal. I mean, you can go on the store and read the spec sheets and the technical information. But you know, even myself, you know, I'm a scientist, and I do a lot of research. But once I know that the product actually is functional, certified, and have personal experience and testimonies, I don't want to be the technical advisor on it and go into all that. But look here, they just have so many. We're just at the surface level.
I
Well,
think
Jimmy's been sold for like 30 years now, and so I finally got one. I mean, there must be something to it if they're still, you know, they're still around selling this stuff. I mean, you know, maybe it's bunk, but you know, I decided to.
The reason I was asking is because there's a lot of products, different kind of products out there that claim, that kind of make the same claims, and they are made out of different things depending on what you trust, I guess, or believe in. So there's a lot of products. So that's why I was asking, because I usually, just like I make my food, I usually like I want to know what the ingredients are in my food, for example. So this is kind of the same thing for me. I just kind of like to know what things that I'm using are made out of.
So look, Yana, look here. Here are some more of the products. These 3 discs are for, and the key word here is silica. You see?
Yeah.
So you know what silica is.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Stu, you know, silica is one of the most prevalent minerals on Earth. It's seashells are made of silica. Our bones have silica.
Yes.
Fingernails have silica. But once you can understand that the technology is proven and tried, then it's not so important to know, you know, how many different wires or components there are to the circuit or whatever. You know, this is safe, tested, and it works. But they make very large ones that you might put on. Look here, the 6-inch, a 3-pack. You could put it on your circuit breaker. That's really where that's a lot of leakage of the VMFs coming there. You put it on a big computer, on a refrigerator. If you put a 6-inch disc on your laptop, that might be overkill, but that's certainly going to protect your laptop. When people get away trying to put a 2 or a 3-inch disc on their laptop, you know, it's like you can go all out, or you can kind of like economize a little bit. They've got countless products. Look, I mean, I don't want to just spend a lot of time, but this is an interesting shopping trip if you go. You know what I mean? Stu, where do we go next? Any more questions? Because, you know, like I say, I'm sending these meters to friends and family. I have one that I loan out. Right now, I got it in my son-in-law's hands, and I'm gonna coach him through running it through his office, my daughter's office, the kid's bedroom, and looking for hot spots, danger zones. And then when you know that, you know, your grandson's pillow is getting a dose of about, let's say 20, I want it down to 3. So I'm going to say, okay, Stephen, try moving the bed to the other wall, or can you move your desk 2 feet to the left? Or all these other strategies to cut down your exposure.
They also have like sheets that are like have silver embedded in them, and then they have a cord, and you ground the cord, and it's supposed to take all the EMF or electrical activity that you would normally get. It should ground it, and it wouldn't hit you. But I mean, some people swear by it, but that's just one other thing that they have that's supposed to help remove the harmful EMF.
I think this topic that we happen to be discussing is very important, and I agree with Yana. I like herself, like to know how things work and what you're getting and what the benefit is. So, I'm thinking my mind always works in all different ways, and I'm trying to see how it incorporates with our continued conversation and dialogue tonight and discussion. For instance, we're in a pandemic, of course, which consumes our lives in a much different way than we all, would like. But it's the current new normal. And some people are eligible to take the vaccine, and some are rushing to get it. Others are being very cautious. We only have limited information on that, regardless if you're eligible or not. And it's interesting that, just people don't ask too many questions and they just go for it, which ultimately is sometimes what you do, but it all depends on your comfort level and what you want to accomplish. I think in terms of getting back to the EMF and then getting back to the COVID vaccine, for instance, EMFs are right around us. I mean, I use my new cell phone now, all my cell phones for the last 20 years. I got a Bluetooth that I listen to and I make phone calls with, and I listen to music on it. Even if I got this device that seems to be possibly suitable for me and others, is it okay then to utilize a Bluetooth headset, which is giving off a different type of wireless ray, with earplugs in your ears? These are questions I think people don't give much thought to. And I think the more information the more informed you are. So, Celine is, did some research and that hit her hot button, and she's concerned about it. And I think a lot of people don't want to be bothered with thinking about, the conveniences of daily life. But, I have my router not too far from, where I sit during the evening, and then I go to sleep, and I have something else in my house with Wi-Fi, and we don't unplug. We're connected all the time.
Stu, can you see this tachyon sleeping pad?
Yes.
I didn't really come on to try to delve into the science of it, but this, I start by just telling people, do the obvious things like your cell phone, get that and put a pendant on your body. But this company has it they have 1 million customers around the world. Look, somebody is buying a full body pad that covers the bed. Look at this thing, about $600, but your whole body is protected at night.
When I saw Dr. Gabriel Cousins recommended it, that's kind of what turned me, because I, for 30 years, have been talking about maybe getting it, trying it, or whatever. And so I finally did. But I thought he was very credible.
Yeah, and he made up my mind. That's how I got started. They put it in the cars, And if you, I mean, we're going to buy more of them as time goes by. You know, we're going to buy one for the car, for each car. And, but I mean, we got some of our hot spots really covered well. And that's what I tell people, you know, on a budget.
Yeah, you know what Jeff is saying is there's a resource here on the store. Do your research. If this is a concern of yours, look into it. If it's not that important, then, pass it by. But we're here to share information. We're not suggesting it's right for your situation or not, but, a lot of people might find it important.
I do for my eyes, because it affects your eyes, that high level radiation.
In terms of just the concept of, I really haven't heard much of this before about EMF. I mean, a little bit here and there. Mainstream media, you may hear a couple of articles. NPR might write an article, or you may read an article, once every several months in the New York Times or somewhere about EMFs and cell phones and whatever. But, a lot of things may not be really publicized. Look at the medical community here in the healthcare in the United States of America. There's not a lot that talks about healthcare. It's more about sick care. And, I think now more than ever with this pandemic, I think everyone here on this, Zoom call or anywhere really should take a position of getting in the best health that people can be, because we're in a pandemic. If you get the vaccine or not, you have to have a strong immune system. And I think making the right choices on how you fuel your body and the choices you make are key. And, you want to save the planet at the same time. You want to have, concern for the animals and all that. That's all excellent.
Yep, I'd rather light a candle in a dark room than, wait for them to install, an electric lighting system next year.
Thank you, Steve. That was great information. And I think you're right. I think we have to take everything under our own control, because we're not going to get this kind of information from the government, from companies. If anything else, especially from the cell phone companies and people behind them, they're going to say, oh, no, it's okay, it's safe. And as I pointed out in last week's blog, where, the American Cancer Society website has, bacon wrapped scallops, or their beef companies are sponsors and send them millions of dollars. We have to take care of our own health and do the best we can. And most doctors don't know anything about plant-based diets anyway.
Listen, if you want to have the philosophy, enjoy what you like, which means anything. I don't care if it's meat. I don't care if it's plants. The choices you make basically is going to determine some of the issues that you may or may prevent as you age, as well as what may happen if you make possibly the wrong choices.
Exactly.
I mean, when you listen to Dr. Esselstyn or T. Colin Campbell or any of these, Dr. Greger, if you go to his site, nutritionfacts.org, the statistics are there that show that plant-based diets, reduce a lot of the diseases that afflict the people. And it's, I don't judge anybody. When I go to the Cleveland Clinic, if I have an appointment over there and I walk around there, and you see who's in the lobby there, you got a lot of people that are sick and having all kinds of ailments, and I wish them well, but we hope to be, we don't wish to be sick, but a lot of people get sick as they age. And I think a lot of the choices that they make, and their genetics, obviously, and their choices, you know, food is powerful. So I think we can learn from one another.
I was just listening to Food Choices, I believe it was. No, it was Dr. Bernard, and I don't remember the YouTube topic, but he was talking about two women who had severe cases of endometriosis. One was 27, and she was scheduled for a hysterectomy, even though she did want children. But she suffered so she thought that was the best bet. Another one went through the same thing, and they took Dr. Bernard's, he was doing research, and he put him on a vegan diet for 1 month. After 1 month, everything was basically gone. The young girl actually went in for surgery, and when she awoke, the doctor said, well, that you don't have any endometriosis, a little bit of scarring, but that's it. And both women ended up going on to have 2 and 3 children. So even endometriosis, a plant-based diet can help.
I actually have a immune booster shot that I do every morning. I'd like to share that with everybody. The only thing is on the recipe, it calls for honey. I don't put in honey at all, but all the other stuff, it's very strong. So you got to be, it's got all this good stuff in it, but it has apple cider vinegar, cinnamon, ginger, orange, cayenne pepper,
I was going to say,
black pepper.
yeah.
So I'm gonna give it to everybody, but just leave out the honey. There you go. So, and I do it every morning, and it's strong. And after that, I need like a good glass of water. But but it's very good for you. It has all the healthy stuff in it to start your day. I do it first thing in the morning.
What do you think about natural bee honey, like from the farm?
Well, I like my food kind of savory. So honey was never a big deal to me. I didn't need a replacement because I don't like a lot of sugar stuff. I don't like sweets so much. I like savory. So I would use agave nectar in the past, but I really don't care. I just leave it out.
Your recipe sounds a little bit like fire cider. I've looked that up, and it is a little bit time consuming, but I guess you get a lot of it. I have been able to find it in Sprouts supermarket, but it's pricey. But it is strong, and it has a lot of the same ingredients yours has. But I will look up yours. That sounds very good. Thank you, Rachel.
And I just think, if you want to do this, because I'm going to be honest with you, those shots that you get in Publix and all those other places, they're good and they're convenient. But if you buy the ginger and make it fresh, there is nothing like it fresh when you're grating it yourself and everything else. It only takes about 5 minutes, and the turmeric, and you buy the little thing of turmeric, and it's like maybe $4.99 a pound. You get like 3 of them, enough for a week.
Yes.
And it's like 50 cents.
I agree.
Yeah.
So you'll have a supply for the whole week.
Wow, that's right. Okay. So Rachel's preference is no honey, but it's optional, okay? We can satisfy everybody's sweet tooth.
Yeah, you can use agave nectar if you don't want to use honey.
Okay. Everything can be custom designed for your taste buds. Whatever will get you to enjoy it. Okay, thanks for that recipe. I'm going to make a copy of that. Excellent. Anybody else have any elixirs that they enjoy utilizing? Linda, you have anything that's any elixirs You're on mute.
I'm trying to. I should be unmuted.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I was going to say, if you want to sweeten dates or date sugar is
Yes.
the best sweetener. Because I think we had something at an EarthSave event and they went through all the sweeteners, which was the healthiest. And not agave or anything like that, but date sugar. And you can buy it granulated, or I just cut up some dates and put it in my tea.
You know something, folks? When they talk in the Bible about the land of milk and honey, you know that phrase, right?
Yeah.
This was not bee honey. It was date honey.
Ah.
That is the
Interesting.
ancient candy sweetener and a very important food. You know, we're exposed to so many sweet foods, but imagine if we were living in a desert region where you have very few food choices. Well, the one that's sugar and honey, you know, that you know, it's medicine in many ways.
And there are some date palms around. When I lived anchored out in Coconut Grove, right behind, there was a date tree. There's one right in front of the Ross store in Coral Gables. I don't know whether it's still there's a date tree. I see the dates and pick them up. I know what they are. So be on the lookout. They're around, or you can get them in the store.
Well, dates are supposed to be very nutritious too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I make a raw energy balls with dates as these to have them formed into balls, and they're energy balls. So I put carrots, tahini, and the dates. And what I do is when I soak the dates in a little bit of hot water, not for too long, because then it'll dissolve and make it too mushy, the energy balls. But I use that water if I want a little bit of sugar. I use the date water when I'm soaking the dates, and I use that for things.
Very good. Jeff, did you want to share anything about the email of the week?
I definitely could.
E-Digest?
Sure, I could. I'd like to run through last week's and touch a few of the hot spots. So I'll do screen share. Here we go. So this is my blog last week. Item number 2 is use your blender. Do I have any definite thumbs up on the idea of blending to save body energy?
I like using my blender, especially right now. There are certain vegetables I can't really chew, so I figure I don't want to not eat them. So blending them does help.
All right, so listen to this comment. Use your blender because you deserve to conserve the extra energy of digestion and assimilation. There's a profound energy benefit by blending. About, let's say, 35–40% of your total body energy every day is consumed by the process of digestion and assimilation.
Wow, that's a lot.
And just think how much energy it takes to chew the food, swallow it, and let it run through the stomach, and the stomach is churning and putting in digestive enzymes and acids, and then it runs through the long intestine, and it's taking energy every step of the way. When you blend, you do a good part of the work for your body right there. So let the spinning steel blades do part of the work for you. And your body knows how to use the energy that it saved. Okay? Same principle applies when you're fasting. You're not using 30, 40% of your energy to eat food. So that energy is going to go to healing, maintenance of cellular and tissue level stuff. Again, last week I mentioned that we got the no vaccination cards. And I know some people are sensitive about this. I'm not going to try to repeat the thousands of pages of arguments, but, you know, Estella and I bought this little gold card and we carry it in our wallet. And it says that we have the right to decline a vaccination. My comment to politicians and power brokers is something that we all know and we all practice. A shift towards our plant-based vegan diet will serve you well. And go find out for yourself, because I didn't want to write an encyclopedia here, just a hint. But it's the truth. It's, you know, all these things that we promote and advocate, how much are we willing to defend them and to get into a 4-hour discussion about why vegans don't eat honey and why some of them do? You know, it's a deep question. You don't have to be 100% pure. You don't have to be sin-free to be a good Catholic or a good Jew. You don't have to actually get certified that you have not committed one sin. And you know, we're human beings, and what we do is we go for the biggest payback. Your biggest payback comes from eating mostly vegan food, right? Mostly a good amount of raw food, and all that is like enhancing and maximizing. But first start off by cutting out the worst stuff, you know?
Now, Jeff, you said it gives us the power. Who backs this? I mean, you know, if I'm in a hospital and I take out this card, they're going to say, well, this doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, these are two of the, you know, international experts on health freedom.
Okay.
And so they basically got the United Nations and the World Court level decisions about, you know, personal freedom of choice.
Great. Okay.
You know, I think everybody should have their own right and not pass judgment on the next person who goes for or against wanting to get a vaccine. Some people don't even think twice, the eligible people now, and they just get it. And, you know, they don't ask too many questions. They don't know too much else. They just hear what they hear. And, you know, they're concerned and they're scared, and fear is the biggest motivator sometimes. And I'm not saying they're making the wrong decision, but they make a decision and they don't even think about it. If you got into a dialogue with them about why they got it, you know, it's kind of like talking about politics to somebody that disagrees with what your political views are. It's going to be a heated conversation sometimes, right?
Absolutely. You know, how many times have we had an EarthSave meeting and somebody is there representing the ethical, compassionate, healthy, vegan philosophy. And there are a million counter arguments. There's all kinds of debate and discussion, but our job is to point out what we ourselves have put to the test, and our own discovery system, our own filters. So like, I feel comfortable talking about a study that Dr. Clapper approved. You know, I feel comfortable talking about the research of T. Colin Campbell. When I see a study that comes out that was paid for by the Dairymen's Association, I'm automatically suspecting it, right? And then I wait for one of the experts on our side to weigh in and point out whether they scientifically approve of the study. Because if the results come out a different way and the science is good, then, you know, we're not going to be arguing it very much. You know, it's like, then we better change some of our point of view. But I mean, in 35 years, I've just seen hundreds, literally thousands of times where somebody says, yeah, but you know what? You vegans, you have to really think about it, because look at this study that says eating 2 ounces of red meat a week decreased your risk of blah, blah. Well, we're gonna look into that. And every time we do, you know, the underlying truth is sort of undeniable. After a certain point, you don't keep doubting it.
Well, my feeling about vaccine, I understand people might not get it, but what happens is this is different, that it doesn't just affect that one singular person, it affects everybody because it is a virus, it is highly contagious. So what everybody else does affects everybody else too. So everybody has a right not to get the vaccine, or to get the vaccine, to wear a mask, to not wear a mask. They have choices, but the choices have to have, it also affects everybody else in the world. So
But that's the same with eating meat. I mean, everybody's eating meat, and meat is a high producer of the methane that's causing a lot of the CO2. I mean, that's I've heard that all over the place. I mean, and then half the rainforest is devastated in Brazil because of meat production. I mean, so it is a personal choice for everybody to try and do what they can to not only help themselves, but, you know, help their environment too.
And also with COVID, the one thing that happened that was beneficial to the environment is less people were driving, more people were working remotely. So
the accidents are less. Yeah.
You know, so that is something that did happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the air purification indexes have greatly improved many places. Water quality has incredible evidence in Venice, Italy. You know, the canals are running clear, and you can see deep into the water, which was totally polluted 2 years ago.
Well, I know there was one country, I don't remember where, and because of COVID, after a few months, they could see the mountains in the background, which they haven't seen in years because of the pollution.
Probably
And, you know, we should look at the better things, let's say, that came out of COVID, and step back and think, okay, how can I keep this going? What can I do? What can my city, state, government do to continue this, instead of going full throttle ahead when, you know, everybody's immunized or herd immunity, and we go back to what it was, and then everything turns around like it was before too. So I'm hoping somewhere along the line something is mentioned on a global format that, you know, there was some kind of good that did come out of COVID, and maybe we can keep this up and help everybody and Mother Earth.
And it's a wake-up call to
Definitely.
to everybody that people can work remotely, that you can see your doctor remotely on some cases, not
Uh-huh.
all cases, but some. You know, it used to, telehealth wasn't as prevalent as it is now. So we're learning, and we have the knowledge and we have the technology. So we have to do better. It's a wake-up call.
I agree, Rachel.
Yeah. I remember from over 50 some odd years ago, the late John Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. So,
That's right.
you know, that's, I remember that, you know, my whole life really. So it's what everybody chooses to do in our communities and around the nation, around the world. But
Well, in the Declaration of Human Rights, I don't know how many are familiar with it. It was brought forth by Eleanor Roosevelt. Toward the end, there is a part where everybody in the community is responsible for the safety of others. And when I read that, I took that to heart. You know, it's kind of like where I live, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour. Now, if I choose to go 35 or 45 and I hit someone or an animal, I didn't take the responsibility of taking care of my street, my community, by going too fast. But when you realize that we do have a responsibility, we're not just one individual living in our own little homes, not being affected by other people. We all are one big family, and we all do have a responsibility of some sort, in my viewpoint, to help the animals, the climate, Mother Earth, and other people.
And Kathy. Well said.
And if anybody's interested in reading that, it's called the Declaration of Human Rights. You would probably be surprised at what rights we have that we never learned in school. I'd never heard about it in school. So you might kind of peruse that.
Does everybody see the YouTube screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little sneak peek at what our YouTube channel looks like, but I'm going to ask Stu, are you making a batch of these from last week?
you're talking about from last week. We have last week's already on there.
I don't see them. I mean, I see
First one. It's the first one.
Okay, but I'm saying, are you going to make a batch like Celine's Healthy Celine and who
Oh,
else?
Jeff, I emailed you. I wanted to change that to make it just Celine's summaries. Celine's summary, because it's really just a summary and it's not always about health. It's, you know, he touches upon a lot of things that being vegan influences.
Okay, Celine's,
Summary.
Celine's summary. Okay, you got it.
Okay.
But Stu, there we go. Like, we only have the main meeting last week. But look, we don't have, oh, and we have this podcast here, but we don't have, I think Janie did one.
Not last week.
Well, we had at least 2 or 3 potential breakout
Well, it's part of the one that's January 10th. So if you want to email me, then I can see what we need to do.
Okay, we'll work on that. So we'll get about 3 or 4. Because these are easy to post around Facebook, and people can get their, start building their own library, like Celine's first one.
Well,
Right,
and you know
Celine?
that they are not videos, they are only audio. I didn't realize that because I only cared about audio, and then I went back to it, and there's a PDF but there's also audio. So basically it's just an interview, it's an oral interview. So they only put their logo on there, Food Revolution Network or whatever, and it's audio only.
Well, that's what yours will be.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So, that's actually, it's not as beneficial in a way as a full video production, but it's
Mhm.
10 times easier, and it gets a lot more views.
Yeah, okay.
So, if Susan were to start presenting something that's reproducible, she could have, her own logo and start generating clips like that. And Yana, Cheryl, every one of us. I mean, this is an opportunity to create your own brand.
Hmm.
And there's no pressure, there's no rush. It's purely optional,
Right.
One of the things that I'm posting in my blog this week is that I'm admitting that I am obsessed with producing something that goes viral. In all the years of being out here in front of people, and I never had anything go viral. And so I'm still aiming for it. And I put stuff out there every day, a whole variety of stuff. So that's my challenge, my little personal mission. But every one of us can at least increase our reach. Our own personal message can go a little bit further, with these recordings. And I'll admit to you that we have not put a real advertising budget into our social media for 3 years. We're running on with a very, very light budget. So all the things that we're producing are basically kind of dress rehearsals for the day when we get the bigger grant, and we have some big grant proposals out there. We have $1 million fundraising campaign coming out. And imagine if we strike pay dirt in 2021 at that level, then our messaging is going to be flying where we're, walking.
Thank you, Jeff. I want to share something for everybody. I may have said this before. I have said it in the past. If anyone is interested in some of the postings that people shared in the chat, you're able to save the chat to your computer, your PC, your desktop, your documents, whatever. You would go to the bottom of the chat where it says all the way in the bottom of chat. Well, you have to open up the chat window, and you go to where it says type message here. You go to the right of that and up a little bit, and there's 3 dots. And then you can click on the drop down that says save chat. Okay. And the chat will be saved. And then you click on the right of that. It says show in your folder, and it shows where it saved it on your computer. So any of those hyperlinks that you may want to have saved, or any of the information that was shared by any of our various participants today, you're welcome to save. Little tidbit. If there's any closing remarks, I want to thank everybody
Thank you.
for your participation, for joining us, spending your Sunday evening, a little bit of your Sunday evening with us. Thank you for all of your good thoughts. Wish everybody good health and a good week. So check us out at earthsavemiami.org if you have any questions or comments. And we look forward to the next time we see you.
Thank you.
Bye
See you
for
all
now,
next
everybody.
week.
Have a
Bye.
good evening.
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody. Stay well. Bye-bye.